You know how they say there's nowhere to go but up? Well, when it comes to the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan, I'm not entirely sure about that. So in case you missed it, things are popping off with the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan, which is a federally recognized government for the Métis citizens in Saskatchewan. It is also heavily federally funded as well. But we finally got a statement, so let's talk about it. So yesterday, the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan released this statement basically outlining their reasons for not allowing 2 re-elected representatives to their swearing-in ceremony. Starting off strong, we already have an error in the first paragraph. Statement was released yesterday, June 26th, but it talks about the swearing-in ceremony that took place yesterday. But the swearing-in ceremony took place on Tuesday, June 24th, not Wednesday, June 25th. So based off that error alone, I'm sure you can imagine where the rest of the statement is going to go. So in the first paragraph, it talks about how this ceremony was disrupted by the 2 ladies that tried to enter. Keep in mind that the presence of 2 re-elected officials is not disruptive. It's literally democratic. And then it starts talking about how they were essentially suspended because of this formal, independent harassment investigation. But yet we are still getting no details on who conducted this investigation. And the suspending of re-elected officials without being transparent is disenfranchising Métis citizens and their right to have their elected representatives at the table, in my opinion. And it's very one-sided in the fact that this investigation found that the elected officials' complaints about this employee were dismissed, but his were upheld and considered valid. But again, not a lot of clear indication on who selected the investigator. Were they independent, at arm's length? What's going on here? And we've heard that this became a human rights issue because of the elected officials and their questioning or treatment of the CEO, which is their only staffer, allegedly, and their top senior staffer. Which, keep in mind, elected officials that are accountable to their citizens that vote them in should be asking hard questions, especially of staff for the sake of transparency. How much are we paying you? There are tons of questions that are legitimate, and it is very interesting that those 2 reps are the type to ask those questions, and now we're seeing this. But what might be my most concerning part of all, I'll bring you down to this paragraph right here. The results of the 2025 Métis Nation of Saskatchewan election in May have no bearing on their responsibility to provide a public apology. The results of the election have no bearing. I'm sorry, what? And not only that, there's a lot of talk about how they're accountable to the citizens and all of those things. Yes, absolutely, you are. And part of upholding that accountability is actually upholding the democratic outcomes of the elections that you held. What is going on here?